Hello, welcome to another episode of Spoken Word Sunday with Granddaddy G. I'm a poet because my shirt says so. We're going to start another chapter, another chapbook. This one's called Angels and Ancestors. Some cover art here. This I put together and submitted to a contest about 4 years ago. And I'm going to include it in a larger book, and maybe I'll resubmit it as its own chapbook again. It's about my family, my mother, my father, my experiences. The first one is called Tree of Life. The reality of life is so profound and startling. It seems impossible to determine which way to go. Thinking you can have everything is dangerous because you know you can't. Fantasy is easy to deal with, but living in reality takes a true man. Yes, indeed. Easier said than done. This next one's about my father. People say I look like him. This is a picture of my father at work at the railroad. Poem's called My Father and the Beach. I saw a man who looked like my father on the beach this morning, walking slowly in the sand, his eyes on his footsteps and his hands at his side. He did not see me, but I saw him. His gray hair and gray disposition appeared before me like a ghostly vision of the past. But my father never walked on the beach and did not talk often. A gruff man my father was, tall and stern and overweight most of the time, except right before he died. He became frail and thin, and his eyes filled with water. A film covered them over as if they had seen enough and wished to retreat. He worked hard his entire life, or so it seemed, his biceps strained and bulging under his striped overalls. He was a railroad man and even had a striped engineer cap. He smoked pipes and cigars sometimes, but usually he preferred Camel Unfiltered. He would show me the pack and then make a joke about the oasis around the corner that the Camel was on his way to. I think my father is there now at that Camel cigarette oasis, taking breaks every now and then to walk on the beach and look for me. You always played with Daddy, he would tell me, when my face was sad and I was 5 years old. If there were no friends around, I would run down the sidewalk in front of our house and jump into his arms. He would swing me around and around and around like I was in a slow motion movie scene. I loved to sit at the dining room table and watch him listen to the radio. All news all the time, the voice said. I wasn't sure if he really cared about current events or if he just wanted to know what time it was. Maybe he wanted to know how much time was left. He would always light up another Camel and stare out the front door, as if he was waiting for something to happen. I saw a man who looked like my father when I returned from the beach this morning. His gray hair and gray disposition staring right back at me. Strangely, he looked a little younger and thinner, his eyes not yet clouded over. I sighed and turned away from the mirror. Surprise ending on that one, huh? All right. More pictures of the railroad I wanted to include. The next one is song lyrics for my song 4 Generations. I'm working on that now. I have an a cappella version of this song on my YouTube channel. Thank you very much, by the way, for subscribing to my channel. If you haven't already done so, please do. Help me reach my goal. This last one's about my mom, Esther Bruno. She lived from 1913 until 1998. And at her funeral in 1998, I read this following poem called Her Eyes. Her eyes and mine, they are the same color, for I was the last one to leave from her womb. My mother's eyes were never as happy than when all of her children sat in the same room. Her eyes have seen more than 30,000 mornings. Her legs have walked deep in New Mexico snow. Her hands as a child were burned by a fire, but those hands have helped more than 40 children grow. Her eyes saw the end of the Great Depression when she married a man tall, handsome, and strong. The 30s gave birth to 3 beautiful daughters, 3 little girls with hair curly and long, my sisters. Her eyes saw the end of the Second World War, when her brothers as servicemen returned safe and sound. The 40s brought 2 sons to join the young family, my brothers, is now in California, a new home they found. They lived in a house whose lawn was a park front. Literally, it was park front walk right off of Avalon. LA in the 50s was the new promised land. They bought a home near 39th and Normandy, where she washed the striped denim of a railroad van. Rival and Sunbeam, Oster and Corning, those were the names of the wares she would sell. Now Bullock's is Macy's and Santa Barbara is King Boulevard. But 38th Place had some stories to tell. 38th Place is now called Roland Curtis Place. It was renamed some time back. A tamale at Christmas was worth more than a diamond, especially if you found 2 olives inside. That meant you could have another. On the table was a bowl of New Mexico chili. So good. With the family together, their smiles were never as wide. Her feet rested on the back of a dog named Petey. A breakfast of tea and toast with apricot jam. Lunchtime would find her at Clifton's cafeteria. There it is right there. Reopened, I hear. Dinner prepared by my father, beans with bacon and ham. Sometimes she would surprise me with chocolate turtles from Woolworth's after I awaited her arrival from the RTD bus. Now it's called MTA. Although she was tired, she would greet me with love. No matter how much to do, she always made time for us. Her eyes saw the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel and a 7-foot moose on an Alaskan trail. Don't have a picture of the moose. Near the end, her mind became a bit cloudy. She never grew tired of telling the same tale. Her eyes and mine, they are the same color, for I was the last one to leave from her womb. My mother's eyes were never as happy than when all of her children sat in the same room. You know, it seems in this life, no one is promised tomorrow. There's no way to tell how long we will stay. So when death finally comes, there shall be no sorrow. If to all those we love, we say, I love you today. That's right. Say I love you today to all your loved ones. And thank you for sharing and subscribing. Have a great week. I'll see you next Sunday.